This indicator is available on the TradingView platform. The link to this platform is in the description, along with links to other analytical platforms. There's also a really cool platform there called TRDR.io. Be sure to check it out because it has an aggregated order book. There are also links to top exchanges where you can buy crypto assets, stocks, and even shares of private companies. Alright, let's get started. We've opened the TradingView platform. Go to the indicators section and type in Nadaraya-Watson Envelope non-repainting. Select this indicator. As you can see, a lot of different values, clouds, and some kind of middle line have appeared. Now, let's see how you can actually use it. It draws boundaries where you can buy assets, and in red, where you can close your purchases. A darker green signal is a weaker signal indicating a possible buying opportunity. Similarly, the dark red color shows where you could close your sales. But these are weaker signals as well, even if you want to short the market. What would I recommend? I would recommend not trading from those dark green and dark red boundaries. Here's what I would do. I would completely change the strategy. So, what would I do? I would remove everything unnecessary and leave only the strongest green boundary. That would be the place where I would buy the asset I'm interested in. And look, this Nadaraya-Watson Envelope indicator, by the way, it doesn't repaint. If it really shows at the moment that there should be an entry here, then there really will be one. And now, check out this interesting situation. Bitcoin dropped sharply to 49,000. And right here there was a signal that you could buy the asset. And you could have just bought Bitcoin here and up to today, be sitting on quite a substantial profit. If you look at the peak, you could have had a profit of about 111%, which is an excellent result. Let's also confirm together that there really was a signal here. So let's take the strategy tester and rewind it to about here. Let's watch together how it all unfolded. See, it's drawing, and you can see the drop right here. If you had a limit order here, you could have bought this asset. Now let's take a look at some stock, for example, Meta platforms. We select this stock and look at what happens. Today, there was an excellent signal to buy Meta shares at a price of $488. Right at the market open, you could have bought these shares, and as of today, you could have a profit of about 43% on this position. That's a very good result. But if we look back, actually, there were good signals before this as well. And there was a signal a year ago, on April 25th, 2024, where you could have bought Meta shares. So, to sum up a bit, these are the points where you can optimally build your portfolio and buy stocks for your portfolio. That's why you could have bought here, and then added to your position here, literally 6 months later. And in this way, your average price would have been around 478, and today you'd have quite a good profit. That's how it goes. The same thing applies if you scroll back through Meta stock history and take a look. There were several entry points at 233 and at the price of 97. So, if you had actually used this indicator and bought at $97, then as of today, about 2 or even 3 years later, you would have a profit of 626%. That's an amazing result. Now let's take a look at another asset, say gold, the iShares Gold Trust ETF. Let's take a look. As you can see, there was a great situation where you could have caught a correction and bought the gold ETF. This happened back in November of 24th year. At a price of 48, you could have bought the gold ETF, and by today you'd have a pretty substantial profit of about 31%. And now let's take a look, for example, at the SP500 ETF SPY. As you can see, you could have picked up a small position here, and the lion's share could have been bought around 508. Our average price would have been around 543, and today you could also be getting a decent return, about 10%. But you have to understand that the percentage of your result, that is, how much money you actually make, depends on the weight of the asset. That is, the S&P 500 is a very heavy asset, and it's very expensive, so it doesn't move much. It only shows small movements, so you can't expect too much from it. But if you take some assets with a small market capitalization, for example, you could make much more than you would trading the S&P 500. By the way, take a look. There was an interesting chart for Vitalik Buterin's Ethereum. You could have caught a spike at around 1500, built a decent position, and could have made quite a substantial profit. That's why I'd recommend using this indicator as a tool to buy assets at favorable prices. For example, let's take a look at Apple stock. What do we have with Apple? As you can see, there was a buy signal here. Then we got 3 more signals. Well, basically, there wasn't much of an entry here, but here was an entry, and here was another one. So these are the most optimal spots where you could have bought Apple shares. Let's see, maybe there was something interesting earlier. Right here, you could have built a good position and made a decent profit. Here, during this drop, you could have bought in pretty well and then held on. As you can see, the signals are interesting and we're showing them at good spots. You can also, for example, take a look at Brent oil. What will it show us? Let's take a look. There was just recently a buy signal for oil. You could have bought at $61 and now it's already at 69. So you see, it's a really good indicator. So use it in your own system. The link is in the description. Register on the top exchanges. Definitely use the TRDR.io program because it shows the aggregation of all volumes from different exchanges, from crypto exchanges. That's it, and you'll be able to see all the volumes in one place right away. Also, invest in private company stocks. It's a really great thing. Back in the day, I made good money on Coursera by buying shares in advance. That's all. This was the Smart Side channel. Subscribe and hit the like button.